My brothers and sisters, the mind is one of the greatest gifts Allah has given us. Yet, too often, we allow it to be clouded with negativity. Thoughts that steal our peace, limit our potential, and distance us from the blessings that are already within our reach. Remember, you cannot live a positive life with a negative mind. Just as a garden will bloom when watered with care, your mind will flourish when nurtured with gratitude, faith, and hope. Today, let us talk about reprogramming our minds, removing the weeds of negativity and planting seeds that will bear fruits of success, peace, and purpose. Negative thoughts are rarely random. They have a beginning, a source, and a story behind them. Many times, we simply allow them to enter our hearts and minds without questioning why they are there, or what purpose they serve. If you trace these thoughts back to their origin, you may find they stem from a painful experience in the past, an unkind word from someone you valued, a disappointment that made you doubt yourself, or even a false belief you've repeated so many times that it feels like truth. Recognizing the source is the first step in taking away its power. Imagine if someone kept leaving rubbish at your doorstep every morning, and you never questioned where it came from. It would keep piling up until your home became unbearable. But the moment you catch the person and address the cause, you can stop the flow. Negative thinking works the same way. It may come from certain environments where people constantly complain, criticize, and focus only on what's wrong. It may come from media that thrives on fear, bad news, and comparison, feeding the mind with seeds of worry and inadequacy. It may even come from your own unchecked self-talk. Those quiet whispers telling you that you're not good enough, you'll fail, or you don't deserve happiness. If you never pause to ask, where is this coming from? Those whispers will turn into loud voices that dominate your mind. But when you stop and identify the trigger, whether it's a habit, a person, a memory, or a belief, you suddenly hold the key to change. This awareness is like turning on the lights in a dark room. The shadows lose their power because you can see them clearly. Often, negative thoughts are inherited patterns, passed down by parents, teachers, or society without malicious intent, but they linger because they were never challenged. It's important to realize that, just because a thought feels familiar, doesn't mean it is true. And just because it has been repeated, doesn't mean it must stay. Recognizing the source doesn't always mean you can erase the thought instantly, but it gives you the wisdom to respond instead of react. You begin to understand that not every thought deserves your attention or belief. This mental clarity is what allows you to break cycles of self-doubt, fear, and hopelessness. Once you can see where the negativity is entering, you can begin to shut the door to it, and open the windows to fresh, empowering perspectives that nurture the soul instead of draining it. Gratitude is one of the most powerful tools you can use to reprogram your mind and shift away from negativity. The moment you start focusing on what you have instead of what you lack, your entire perspective begins to transform. It is easy to dwell on problems, to magnify challenges, and to feel weighed down by what is missing. But when you make a habit of looking at the blessings already in your life, you begin to see how rich you truly are. Think about the simple things we take for granted. The breath you are taking right now, the ability to see, to hear, to walk, to think. These are gifts that no amount of wealth can replace. Yet we often overlook them because we are busy chasing things that lie outside our reach. Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. It is like adjusting the lens of a camera. Suddenly, what was once blurred with complaints becomes sharp with appreciation. Science even shows that practicing gratitude rewires the brain to be more optimistic and resilient. In faith, gratitude is not just a good habit, it is a command. The more thankful you are to Allah, the more blessings you attract, because gratitude opens your heart to receive. Even in hardship, there is always something to be thankful for. Perhaps a lesson learned, a new strength discovered, or a protection from something far worse. When you start each day by listing the things you are grateful for, you begin to train your mind to search for the good, instead of dwelling on the bad. It could be the warmth of the sun on your face, a kind word from a friend, a meal on your table, or the fact that you woke up alive when so many did not. The power of gratitude is that it multiplies. The more you acknowledge your blessings, the more you see them. It doesn't erase life's challenges, but it changes how you face them, because you realize you are not empty-handed. Gratitude also silences envy and comparison, two of the biggest sources of negative thinking. When you are busy counting your own blessings, you have no time to measure your life against others. Instead, you find peace in what has been written for you, trusting that Allah's plan is perfect, even if you do not see the full picture yet. Gratitude softens the heart, calms the mind, and lifts the soul. It turns your focus away from complaints that drain you toward appreciation that strengthens you, and it reminds you that even in the smallest things, there is a reason to smile. What you allow into your mind becomes the raw material from which your thoughts are formed, and your thoughts shape your emotions, decisions, and ultimately your life. Guarding your input means being intentional about what you expose yourself to every single day. If you constantly feed your mind with fear, gossip, negativity, and comparison, it will naturally produce anxiety, doubt, and dissatisfaction. Just as your physical health depends on the food you consume, your mental and spiritual health depend on the information, conversations, and images you take in. Many people underestimate the effect of their surroundings. The media they watch, the social media accounts they follow, the music they listen to, and even the people they spend time with. Every one of these is like a seed planted in the soil of your mind, and over time, those seeds will grow into either nourishing fruits or choking weeds. If you repeatedly hear hopeless messages, constant complaints, or destructive criticism, your mind begins to adopt that as the norm. Soon you find yourself speaking the same way, thinking the same way, and expecting the same results. Guarding your input does not mean avoiding reality or pretending problems don't exist, but it means choosing sources that uplift, educate, and inspire you rather than those that drain your energy. It means setting boundaries with people who only bring negativity into your life, even if they are close to you, and surrounding yourself with those who remind you of your values, your goals, and your worth. It also means being mindful of entertainment choices, because what you watch or listen to often lingers in your subconscious long after the moment has passed. Replacing harmful input with beneficial content is like replacing junk food with nutritious meals. Over time, your mental state becomes stronger and more resilient. Instead of scrolling endlessly through feeds that stir envy or comparison, choose to read, listen, or watch things that teach you something new or deepen your faith. Instead of spending hours in conversations that center on complaints, join discussions that focus on solutions, growth, and gratitude. Even small changes in your daily input can have a profound effect on your mindset. Just as you would not leave your home's door wide open for anyone to enter, do not leave your mind unprotected for any thought, image, or idea to take root. You have the power to decide what enters, and by doing so, you create a mental environment where positivity can grow and negativity struggles to survive. The words you speak carry immense power, not just in influencing others but in shaping the way you see yourself. Every time you speak, you are reinforcing a certain image and belief in your own mind, and over time, that becomes your reality. Speaking life over yourself means consciously choosing words that build you up instead of tearing you down. Many people are quick to speak negatively about themselves, sometimes without even realizing it. They say things like, "I'm so stupid," "I can't do this," or "I always fail." And these statements become like chains around their minds, limiting what they believe they can achieve. The human brain is deeply influenced by repetition. What you say often, you eventually begin to believe, even if it started as a joke or casual remark. When you speak words of encouragement to yourself, you create a mental atmosphere of confidence, hope, and resilience. This doesn't mean you ignore your mistakes or weaknesses, but it means you speak about them in a way that focuses on growth instead of defeat. Instead of saying, "I'm terrible at this," you say, "I'm learning and getting better." Instead of saying, "I'll never succeed," you say, "I'm taking steps towards success every day." These small shifts in language can reprogram the way you approach challenges. Your words also have the power to influence your emotions in the present moment. Saying something positive out loud can immediately change your mood and outlook, while negative speech can drag you deeper into frustration or hopelessness. Faith teaches us to be mindful of our speech, reminding us that every word is recorded and carries weight. This applies not only to